Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas today. Wasn't going to do an upload for Christmas, but another thing came in time, so I thought why not. And we're taking another look at a new MWS, and MWS GBBR on the market, and Secutor Arms has joined the chat. So they've done what they call the Centurion. Is this more of the same? Have they done anything that you should pay attention to? This is another entry-level MWS platform, but I'm hazarding a guess that Double Eagle's had something to do with this. So you'll get it in a box like this. One thing I will always say about Secutor is their box branding is always pretty damn good. We open this up here and try and be careful not to drop it. So we open this up here, open the foam. We've got your manual and bits in here, very much like how the DE ones comes. We have a Centurion. Now these come in black, tan, and a black and tan two-tone. I just picked the tan one up, which is a tan rifle, but the stock tube and the rail is in like a really deep bronze colour. So with that we get a new style of magazine. This is, it does say, which is very strange, it says DMag on the top, so maybe this is a magazine that they've already done. It's not one that I've personally seen before. So if this is already on the market, just ignore me. If it's not already on the market, it's basically a version 2 Double Eagle PMag with a different style of shell, but neither here or there. We also in the box get a little mock suppressor there, and then we get the rifle itself. There's also an Allen key in here. I'm not really sure what that's for, but I'm sure we'll find out. And let's get this thing out here. So it does say max 1.5 joules on the box, which this has been bought in through a UK distributor, or the UK distributor. So if it is doing that 1.5 joules, that is a little bit alarming. Now I'm just going to quickly get this out of the box. In fact, can I do it here? Yes, there we go. And we'll take a look at this thing. So let's get this box out of the way. That can swiftly go in the bin when we're finished. But yeah, on their branding of their packaging, it's always pretty good. Secutor themselves, they're like not an OEM brand, what would you call it? Like it's the term I'm looking for, where they don't necessarily make the products, they go to a factory that's already available, but then they brand them under their Secutor brands. So they've done many pistols. Some of the early pistols were made by APS, which weren't very good. Those are the early Glock models. Then they switched to KJ Works, who were doing their M9s, 1911s. Then they started doing their later Glock models. They've done a bunch of stuff with Aries. So they did like electric stuff. They also did, what am I thinking of here, the shotguns, which were Golden Eagle rebrands. But this is new, so I have looked at this absolutely blind. I don't know anything about this thing other than it popped onto the website. So we do have DE there, so it's made by Double Eagle, but we'll see if there's any differences. So we've got a nice stock. To be honest, the stock fits better than some expensive guns like the KS1. So there's a tiny bit of movement in there, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty good. We've got safe semi-auto on the selector, a normal AR style selector there. We've got a sticker on the side here, which let's see if we can peel it off without it disintegrating. So that says, oh, there we go. There's the textbook crappy paper stickers. Why do they do it? It would just, you know, go a long way if they just didn't bother doing that, or make a tag that goes around the trigger guard or something, like how Maru put their hop-up tags on. Because now, even though it's been removed, it's got like a square around it. So let's just wipe this off real quick. We've got the usual K2 style grip here. I can't remember if they've changed the texture here or not, but we've got a blank receiver. And what I mean by a blank receiver is it's not been deep embossed into the metal like the selector markings. This is just surface laser marking. So if you were wanting to pick one of these up and just strip it down, put your own markings on there and then Cerakote it, you can get it to look whatever you want. Obviously there's offerings from Double Eagle that you can do that with. So what we're going to determine today is it worth picking up this rebrand, or are you better just going straight for the Double Eagle stuff? So we've got an N4 handguard here, which is finished in bronze. So we've got SPQR, whatever that means, I'm not entirely sure. Some of you will probably tell me with a logo on it like that. We've got Roman numerals there, and then we've got Centurion in Bello Primus. One thing I did notice is this has got a grey nozzle, so I'm guessing that's an angry gun nozzle. Which is, if they've done that, I think it's a mistake. Ooh, we're gonna get to that in a minute. I think they've messed up here. So gas blowback replica made by Double Eagle with some, you know, fancy. What Secutor tends to do is they'll give you like the base model of a certain something. They've done it with Aries for a long time, and then they'll basically throw in some accessories in the box. Now, it comes with a suppressor. This is probably one of the cheapest suppressors I've ever felt. So you've literally just got a tube that goes through the centre of it, and it does feel like it's fixed in place. So that looks like it's glued. So you probably just have to pull that off there. And then you've got an empty can. You can see, like, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. You can see like all like loads of rainbow effect from where they've coated this thing, but it's a very, very cheap mock suppressor here. The front of that like inner tube doesn't even like index into the end here, so they're throwing it in the box, but honestly you want to be throwing it in the bin. However, is it still worth getting something like this? We're going to get to that in just a moment. So we're going to put the suppressor on here real quick so you can see what it looks like. We put the mag in there, and there we go, the Secutor Centurion. I am a bit dubious this. I've got a very big fond spot for Double Eagle because they've done extremely well this year. So is this going to be worth, you know, considering? I mean, obviously a lot of it depends on price, or are you better off just going for a Double Eagle model? We're going to test that, and we're also going to be doing a mag compatibility test. So I've loaded up, I think, every type of MWS magazine. I don't think I've missed any. Now I might have, but I don't think I have. And we're also going to test the standard mag that comes with it. So let's do that now. So for the chrono test, we're going to be shoving some 0.3 gram BBs through this thing. And then when we're doing the mag compatibility test, because that's the last of the 0.3s I've got here, when we jump onto the mag compatibility, we're going to be using 2.5s, just because I've got tons of 2.5s. Because I bought a ton of them because I was going to HC2 a lot. So filling the mag up here with some 0.3s. Let's just crack straight into it, shall we? And then we'll have a look at what's going on inside after the fact. So are we running at 1.5 joules? I really don't know. It does have an end pass because it's got that angry gun nozzle, that MPA nozzle. It does have an adjustable valve fitted as standard. But when we were looking into like fitting new nozzles into the Double Eagles, we actually found, and it was in our Discord a while ago, there was an issue where basically the Marui MWS nozzles, how they sit in the bolts, they sit slightly off center. And what we found was when we was putting Marui spec or Guns Modified, which is Marui spec nozzles, into stuff like the salvos and the DEs, we were finding that they were slightly off center from the barrel. So have they picked up on that, or have they just gone to Double Eagle and gone, give us a rifle, we'll fit an angry gun nozzle, and I think it looks like a maple leaf rubber. But you'd like to think that they are, but stranger things have happened here. So I'm just going to set the ammo on the chrono to a 0.3 gram BB there. Can you see that? There we go. 0.3 gram BB. I'm going to chrono it first with the suppressor on, then I'm going to take it off because obviously this is going to space the barrel back only ever so slightly. You're marginal there, but we'll just do it anyway. So now I think I forgot to gas it, so bear with me. The first shot that came out though was 1.3 joules, which even if it's got an M-Pass fitted, they're kind of breaking the rules. Looks like, in fact, it might not be a maple leaf. What I can see is the hot rubber that they fitted is already damaged. Only on the outside face though, so it's not really, it shouldn't really affect it. So here we go. 1.6 joules, 1.54 joules. So they say max they said max 1.5 joules, but that shot before it was 1.6. 1.52, 1.46, 1.398, dying off very quickly. What we'll do, we'll take the suppressor off here. I'd rather than just reduce the price slightly and sack this crap off, or give us something like, you know, Double Eagle now, you've got the N4SD and they're coming out with the Hunter MCX or salvos, where they're giving you muzzle devices, but they're giving you tracer units, so you're good to go. And just when other companies are starting to give you tracer units with the rifles and you hand out this, you're in the past, guys. Sorry. So suppressor off here, 1.49, 1.41, 1.355. So can we, how do I get the shots up? Shot memo. So with the 0.3, we had 310, 279, 253, 339. So that one shot, 339, which was round number 4, 339 feet per second on a 0.3 is 1.6 joules it was showing on the chrono. So yeah, naughty. So anyway, let's put some shots through it, see if it can shoot full auto, and then we'll carry on. So no, we can't. It's out of chuff already. So we're running out of juice already, but don't worry, we're going to test some better mags. So there we go. So what I want to try and show you here, not sure if you're going to be able to see it. Before we get into the mag compatibility, let's take a look inside, shall we? Because I think they've made a mistake here. Now, many of you out there will disagree with what I'm about to say, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not attacking you, but in no world would I ever fit an Angry Gun nozzle to any of my MWSs. Parts like that from Angry Gun in the past have always burnt me. So the alignment is actually okay, so that's not an issue. But we can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. You're going to be able to see this. How am I going to get this? It's like there. So have I got a torch? You know, I'll try and use my watch. So I don't know if you can see that there, but the bottom of the hot rubber, there, it's actually torn, but the camera is not going to want to focus. So just at the bottom of the hot rubber, it's basically peeled off the start of the rubber. So it does, see, I'd say it was a maple leaf rubber, but I think it might be. It does look like a funny colour, so maybe it's one of those silicone ones. So straight off the bat, the first thing I would be doing is removing this. Not only have I had horrendous results with Angry Gun nozzles, if you've had great results, I'm not attacking you personally, don't get bent out of shape. If you've got one singular rifle and it works for you, that's fine. I have seen hundreds of these rifles, and I have had a butt ton of rifles into me for service and repair where they've got these nozzles and they're getting horrible consistency, and then we've switched it out to either back to the standard Maru one if they've got it, or we fit a Guns Modify. I have seen a couple of Double Eagles as well where they've had these fitted, and we've put the original Double Eagle nozzle back in and it's been better. So I think this is a case of a rebrand company just throwing parts at it because, so they could have kept the Double Eagle nozzles, which would have been fine. Double Eagle nozzles have been, the early ones in the N4s were a little bit brittle, they used to break here. But ever since then, like in the salvos and in the Double Eagle models, we've seen excellent reliability out of the nozzles. I mean, my Ghetto Blaster I've put a shed ton of rounds for that thing, and it's still going. Their reliability has increased, so they must have changed the plastic at some point. So this is a massive mistake. I'm not a massive fan of maple leaf rubbers in MWSs, but that's me. That's a personal thing. I'm not maple leaf rubbers. I've used them in other rifles across the years, and they've been fine. Just if I'm going to something like an MWS, it's always going to be a flamingo for me, just because it's the hot rubber that I have the best results out of. It's not just that as well. It's like, I know when I build a rifle and I put a flamingo rubber in, I know it's always going to be the same as what I've recorded on other stuff. So if I'm using the same setup, so right, let's get this charging handle that I dropped on the floor. So we're gonna whack a load of mags through this now, and we're gonna test the magazine. This is just the compatibility. Now I'm sure it would be fine, but we're gonna do it anyway for science. So this might be a bit of a longer video. I apologise if it is. Most importantly, first what we're going to try, we're going to start off with the Tokyo Marui magazines. Now, sometimes the Tokyo Marui magazines can be a bit picky when they're going in double eagles. In my personal rifles, they're fine, but quite a few people have reported issues, and they're like, some people have said putting Velcro in the back of the mag wells works. I've never had to do that, but here we go. Tokyo Marui Stanag magazine with 0.25 gram BBs. Bit of gas spit there. I have properly topped this mag up, so that'll be the reason why. But in terms of functionality, absolutely fine. We have a double eagle Stanag. Now, this is again one of those things where they've chosen to give you the polymer mag with this rifle. Again, I think that's a mistake. I think with a lot of the double eagle models now, I think the Stanags are the best magazines so far that I've seen that they've done. So the Dino Defense one isn't bad at all. Just do a quick chrono check. This is on 2.5s. 1.19 joules. No, we'll test it a bit better on the next one. Double eagle Stanag mags works absolutely fine. Salvo Stanag, same as the double eagle, but just it's come from a salvo box. So 1.4, 1.4, 1.36, 1.325, 1.341. So yeah, this is working just fine as well. Really likes the double eagle Stanag mags. Double eagle PMag Gen 2. Look far better than whatever that is that came with the gun, but we'll test it anyway. You could kind of hear the mag dying off there. Just these don't feel as good as the Stanags. The Stanags have kind of got a Marui type purge valve on them. The magazines that fill from the back, it's just harder to get a bit more gas in them than the purge type. However, double eagle Daniel Defense magazine seems a bit more pokey, that one. .3 joules. Right. Guns Modify PMag version 1. Still, version 1 Guns Modify PMags are still, in my mind, the best PMags that were ever on the market until it all went wrong. Right, we've got Guns Modify version 3 PMag. Absolutely fine. Doesn't mind that at all. Guns Modify Strike Industries mag. This is the new ones. Didn't quite have many rounds in that one. That's done. Lancer stuff. So Lancer or not Lancer, CGS Stanag. This is the one that came with the Salient Arms GRY. See how much punchy that is? That's a clear indication that that's Salient Arms GRY. And I don't think you've seen the N23 video. The N23 video will probably come up the day after this one. So yeah, but here we go. Well, it's not the mag. That Stanag works absolutely fine. This one came with the N23, which you haven't seen that video yet, but little 20 round Stanag. These mags are really weird because they've got like this 2-part metal, and this sounds hollow, so this is like a sheath that goes over it. It's really strange. I need to take one apart and have a look what's going on, but 20 round mag looks kind of funky, doesn't it? Absolutely fine. And finally we have the CGS Lancer mag. So when the bolt's forward, we don't really get any wobble. I still think that these... People keep asking me to have a go with the Angry Gun Lancers. Sorry, no. If Angry Gun want to send me one, I'll happily review it and put it through its paces. But I'm not going to be buying stuff like that from Angry Gun, like I wouldn't buy their nozzles. External parts from Angry Gun, like I've bought charging handles, I've bought barrel accessories. Sometimes the suppressors are a little bit canted off, which can be strange. Outer barrels, rails, fine. Absolutely no issues. Internal parts and things that you need to rely on, like gas chambered mags and stuff, I ain't going to do it. But CGS Lancer, these have actually been working really well in everything that I've tried so far. And they punch. Boy, do they punch. 1.3, 1.28, 1.278. So these are on 2.5s, remember, so it's a little bit different to the 3s that we recorded originally. Ooh. Struggled a little bit on full auto there. We are starting to tear that hot rubber up, so I don't know whether that's a bad installation at factory. It feels fine. It feels like a Noveski, double eagle Noveski N4, just with a normal receiver. The gas tube, the fake gas tube's loose, which is rattling, which is doing my head in. Stock fits fine. The grip is double eagle. You know, everything's familiar. But I think the first thing you're going to want to do, and I don't say this lightly, guys. I'm not just shitting on anyone. That's not my intention. I am going off experience. And what you have to remember is, and a lot of people don't like to hear this, is if you've sat at home and you've experienced something different, that is absolutely fine. I'm not going after you personally, but I have touched so many gas blowback replicas, more than a lot of people on the internet. I have worked on hundreds of these rifles, MWSs and the DEs and the salvos. You've got to kind of trust me that I kind of know what I'm talking about right now. Like, and someone on the internet they'll love to like disagree with me. I'm sure they'll be in the comments of this video disagreeing with me. But how, like, and I don't say this as like me being big-headed, but how many rifles do you have at home? I'm in a fortunate position where I can review a lot of this stuff. I don't always get it right. With a lot of the VFC stuff, it's new to me, and I always say that, it's new to me. If I ever make a mistake, I come back on a video after, and I say I've made a mistake, much like the SPL 300 video we did on the Archwick Sniper. But if I make a mistake, I'll always put my hands up and say it. But most of the time, especially with MWS stuff and the double eagle stuff, I have seen so much of it. I think they've made a mistake. They've gone for aesthetics with the magazine. Me personally, the best magazines that double eagle do are the Stanags. I would much rather of them charge me an extra 5-10 quid and give me a Stanag. I'll take these Stanags all day, every day. So far, they've been excellent. The polymer mags, although they seem to work okay, they don't seem to accept gas as efficiently as the Stanags. And again, this comes back to me harking on about the purge valves. But I'm telling you now, you put the thing on, you know exactly how much gas has gone into the magazine, and you get a reliable fill every time. With this style of mag, with the valves at the back, with non-purging valves, you don't get a reliable feed, and you can hear that when you're filling it. You know your mag's empty, you put your gas can on, you start filling it up, and you can't hear the propane going into the magazine. GBBR veterans out there will understand what I'm saying, but I would much rather them give me a Stanag rather than this magazine will never get used. It's not up to standard. As much as I liked the Double Eagle version 2 PMag, it was an improvement over the version 1 PMag. It's nowhere near as good as their Stanag mags. That's the magazines I think they should be supplying with everything. And if you're thinking about picking up a Double Eagle or a Marui clone, maybe even this, go out, get yourself some Double Eagle or Salvo Stanag magazines and just run them. Yes, we all like to have PMags, but there's so many companies that try and they get it right, like in Guns Modify, and then they destroy the legacy of that PMag in the later versions. 2s weren't bad, version 3s getting a little bit iffy, version 4s, sorry, but everyone I've tried so far has been pants. So does it look better? I do have a version 2 tan one here. I think it looks better with that. You have to agree or disagree with me in the comments down below. If you're going to give us a Polymer magazine, at least give us something that looks fairly good. Because this thing, I'm sure this is like an older mag. I don't think this is a new one. I'm pretty sure they shipped this out with some of the Double Eagle models. Like there was a couple of Noveski models that were slightly different, and I'm sure they came with these mags. If you know more, tell me down in the comments below. But I'm pretty sure this isn't a new thing. It's just in the back of my mind. So there you have it. So do I think you should go out and get a Secutor Centurion? Now, there's nothing wrong with it if you've bought one. The first things that I would do, straight off the bat, I would put a Double Eagle nozzle back in there and, you know, run it with different mags. You know, you've got plenty of M-Pass options and stuff like that. I can't rely on the angle gun parts. I never have done. I'm going to leave it there. So if you're running one, that's what I'd recommend you do. If you're thinking of picking up a Double Eagle or whatever brand MWS clone, I'm sorry, boys and girls, this just isn't it. The amount of models available from Double Eagle now, I think if you're going with the Secutor Centurion instead, I don't think there's any, you know, any pros to doing that. Like what? Okay, let's do a thought experiment here. You're going to pick up a MWS clone, you're looking at Double Eagles, you maybe look at the Salvo MCXs, and you're looking at this. What is pulling you into this over the other models? You've got to ask yourself that. So what is pulling me, if I'm a buyer right now, what is pulling me into this than buying another Double Eagle? Because they do a lot of models now. You can get them in tan with blank receivers and Mark 16 rails or Mark 18 rails. You know, there's loads of choice now. What is this giving us that those aren't? Absolutely nothing. In essence, I think it's giving you more problems because parts like that, most people will swap the hot rubber out anyway. I can understand, and this isn't me digging at Secutor, I've got no problem with Secutor. I've had tons of Secutor products over the years. The shotguns, the 1911s, the M9, which I think was called the Bellum, the Glock model, I can't remember what that was called. Not the early one, because I think that was the Gladius. It was the later one, was it the Magna or the Magnus or something like that? The 1911s, fantastic. Even a lot of the electric stuff they were doing, like they did their own version, which was the Rapax of their version of the Ares 308s. Not a problem with that at all. When we were stocking them, honestly, you say what you want about Ares, Ares can be a bit hit and miss, I will agree with you there. But I think they've dropped the ball on this one. I can see what they've tried to do. They've gone, right, let's give this to a customer. Let's make it look, you know, within our brand and how our brand looks. I can understand that, I really can. But then they should have perhaps paid more close attention to what the community is actually doing. And this is probably targeted towards more of a new GBR user. I don't think anyone who's, you know, been running GBRs for a while now, I don't think they'd be looking at something like this. I don't think it makes sense. So I hope me trying to articulate what I mean in my head is coming out my mouth correctly. Hope you don't take it the wrong way. But it's not a bad little rifle. I just think there's much better options out there now. Double Eagle's absolutely killing it. I mean, probably for not much more, you could go and get something like the Daniel Defense Mark 18 from Double Eagle. Phenomenal rifle. All you'd have to do to this, if you just wanted to get up and running, is put an M-Pass in and you're good to go. Then you can chuck all the upgrades in it you want. You're getting proper trades on it, so you haven't got to worry about that afterwards, even on the upper receiver. You've got Daniel Defense furniture on it. If I didn't have one of these already, because they so graciously sent me one, I would have gone and bought one. And I might still go and pick up more Double Eagle models that they do, because they do loads. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let you guys come up to your own conclusions. The good, it kind of works. The bad magazine choice, bad nozzle change choice, in my opinion. The maple leaf rubber is, a welcome upgrade over the standard one. No bugbears about that. The suppressor that comes with it is very, very cheap. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there because I could probably chatter about this all day. There is the Secutor Centurion. You'll see, of course, now, if you've been paying attention to all the footage coming out of MOA in Taiwan, all the companies are doing MWS stuff now. What does that tell you? You don't see tens of different companies all rushing to the market to do VFC systems. We're just not seeing that, are we? Maybe some people are. Most of the companies out there that were at MOA announcing their new GBBRs coming out in 2026 or whatever, they were all based, whether strongly or loosely, on an MWS system. And I'll leave that bombshell with you there. So thanks for viewing this video. I'm sure on Christmas Day, if you're watching this, you've got much better things to do. However, I appreciate you coming and sticking around and having a chat, or having a chat down in the comments if you've left a comment, and taking a look at this thing. So thank you very much for that. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Discord is in the description down below. Get involved with the Jaeger Precision community. And as always, a very happy Christmas to you on Christmas Day here, and a happy new year. You'll probably get videos from me in between beforehand anyway. Thank you very much for watching us in 2025. I appreciate every single one of you, whether you're subscribed or whether you're not, if you just come out to check a random video. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much for making 2025 a year to remember in a year that's been, on average, pretty bad for everybody else. So thank you very much for that. And as always, from me and Bench, we'll be seeing you in the next one.